What is the most useless Mario Bros power-up in the history of Mario Bros? Well, I think I may have an answer, but first, we gotta clear the air. Keep in mind that useless does not automatically mean the worst. For example, the propeller mushroom from New Mario Bros. Wii isn't that fun to use at all. It's pretty boring if anything. Though, I can't sit here and pretend it's not useful. Falling into a pit with no hope of survival? Oh, just waggle that Wiimote a little and shoot up to the sky. That is quite handy if I do say so myself. Nah, when thinking about useless power-ups, I want you to envision getting one and then thinking, what in the world am I even supposed to do with this? And there's no better culprit fitting that description than a little something within the greatest game of all time, Super Mario 64. Now, it's important to know that 64 handles power-ups a tad differently than most other titles. Instead of finding them randomly inside of question mark blocks, they're stored in these multicolored exclamation mark blocks that are always put in distinct locations across most of the levels. Also, rather than grabbing a hold of one and using it at your leisure until you get hit, thus losing it, they act closer to a superstar in that you only have X amount of time after activating it before it goes away. Each of these blocks, except for the yellow one that holds various stuff like coins, 1-ups, and power stars, have to be unlocked by hitting their switch in secret courses throughout the castle. Once that is done, they turn from transparent to solid, holding these special caps that grant you these magical powers. Wing cap for red that turns you into a flying man, metal cap for green that turns you indestructible, and vanish cap for blue that turns you invisible. Now, at a glance, these all seem really cool and useful, and you'd be right to think that they indeed are. The game makes sure to drive this point across a lot of the time by tying their placements with nearby star objectives, meaning that you may need to use them in order to complete the task at hand. If you see a blue block, you're probably slipping past some sort of solid wall. If you see a red block, you're probably zooming through the air collecting coins. And if you see a green block, you're probably going to be scratching your head. Yeah, the metal cap, despite looking extremely awesome and playing this catchy tune while active, is largely worthless. Not needing it a single time the entire game if you know what you're doing. Which is rather ironic given how it's by far the most reoccurring cap throughout. Right off the bat, with a little bit of patience, you don't even need it to complete the green block switch course, the Cavern of the Metal Cap, which by the way is specifically designed to show it off for the first time. Afterwards, like I said earlier, this unlocks the metal cap across the normal stages where you can then also swiftly ignore them. There's these two separate jet stream stars in Jolly Roger's Bay and Dire Docks that require the heaviness from being metal to sink past the raging current that prevents normal Mario from nabbing the stars. However, instead of slowly trudging through the ocean floor, you can simply just swim faster. I know that sounds sarcastic, but by pressing the A button at a consistently rapid pace, you'll start to swim quicker than normal, which is fast enough to touch the stars. Staying in Dire Docks, there's another mission titled Collect the Caps, and you may think, hey, I see a Vanish and Metal Cap side by side. Maybe I need both of them. This mission is called Collect the Caps with an S, plural. Nope, you just need the Vanish Cap to get through the cage and grab the star. I guess being metal does make things easier, but I'm trying to make it look as bad as possible, so just swim over there without it and you're golden. Lastly, there's this large button in Hazy Maze Cave that's slightly underwater that, of course, leads to a star. So you're expected to turn metal and walk all the way over here to step on it to open up the gate. Though, there's actually a few different jumps you can do to gain enough height to be able to slam into it as normal Mario. If only they made the water just a little deeper. Okay, pause. To cut it some slack, I don't think that many people in 96 were fast swimming or jumping from out of bounds. So if these were the only appearances of the metal cap, I honestly wouldn't be sitting here clowning on it. But I still have a video title to justify, so we're not done yet. Every other green block not mentioned so far are placed in spots for what I can only suspect was to help the player out in certain ways. But not every metal cap is created equal. useful. I'll admit, while still not needed, there are a few situations where they can come in handy, such as not taking damage while trying to guess the correct order of these treasure chests, or not having to breathe in the toxic gas in the hazy maze. Yet, a lot of other times, I am truly baffled at how silly they are. Take this one at the course entrance of the aforementioned cave that is hazy. You break open the block, grab the cap, and then go about the level in the same exact way as if you weren't metal. Remember that it's on a 20-second timer, so you're not going to be taking it much further than the starting room. At least with something like a randomly placed wing cap, you can cover a lot of ground by obviously flying around. But the metal cap is pretty much just regular Mario, except he's fire resistant and you can make certain enemies explode by walking into them. I mean, that is cool and all, although unless you're getting smacked around by these scuttlebugs on the daily, what exactly are you getting from this? But wait, hold on, there's worse. In a Bowser in the Dark World, the first Bowser stage, you'll also see a green block soon after loading in, to which the only thing that you could possibly use it for would be to help make it past this flamethrower thingy that has a 4-second cooldown in between each burst of flames that can also easily be jumped over or crawled under. Okay, maybe you're extremely sucky at video games like absolute horseradish and you want to get this red coin, yet you keep getting hit every time and falling off. At least there's the potential for danger, but the funny thing is, you can't even use this metal cap until you unlock them, which you first need to beat this very stage to get the key that opens up the basement of the castle to reach Hazy Maze Cave, which is where the green block's activation switch is at. Okay, well, I guess the 8 red coins aren't needed to finish the stage and get the key, so maybe you come back later while trying to 100% the game, and you should have the metal cap by then. That is the most stretched out justification I can manage. But that doesn't even compare to the absolute granddaddy of useless power-ups that is the metal cap in Whomp's Fortress. I would love to ask whichever Japanese fellow that programmed this very block into the game one simple question. Why? There is absolutely no conceivable reason as to why it's here. The only, and I mean only thing I can think of is to prevent any damage if you were to get squished by these thwomps going up the stairs. And before you say, well, obviously that's what it's for, duh, there's still a good handful of reasons as to why it's still super dumb. For one, even assuming you have the most dog water reaction time in the world and get hit by both thwomps, you'll still have health to spare with plenty of coins right after this to heal all the way back up. So unless you subject yourself to constant thwomp squishing, you're not in any sort of pickle. Secondly, unless you're going for the red coins, you can flat out skip going up the fortress this way by taking this obviously easy shortcut. Thirdly, similar to Bowser in the Dark World, chances are when you visit this course, you won't even have the metal cap unlocked. Mario 64 is a fairly open game when it comes to level order choice, although I would imagine a vast majority of players have made it past these perilous thwomps without the need of this metal cap at least once. And lastly, even if it was active from the start, why would you want to totally erase the challenge of this pretty cool set piece? It would be pretty neat if you could like break the thwomps or anything of the sort, but nope. By all accounts, I am just flabbergasted at this being here. I know that by sheer technicality, it's not literally useless. That would be like giving you a star in an empty hallway with no sort of obstacles or enemies. But remember, I'm calling this the most useless after all, and I think this has to be it. Seriously, I am genuinely curious to know how many people on Earth have used this metal cap in an unironic sense, and not because they were just goofing around or they were bored. Oh well, I guess this metal cap is a lot like this video. It's not really hurting anything by purely existing, but does it really need to? Probably not. Happy Mario Day, everybody. But if you're watching this on any other day, then